members, as I indicated on Tuesday, work is done in between meetings, and I'm grateful to those members, particularly Honourable Bartman, and to the officials who liaised, I almost want to say behind the scenes or outside of this meeting, and propose some changes and engage with one another, and then, sometimes accepted the other party's position, etc. So thank you very much, but my apologies. I would have liked for this to have been circulated much earlier.
Can I just ask if I think at our last meeting we agreed that we would read the document, identify parts that we wanted to discuss. We're not going to go through the 19 pages again. We're going to highlight where we have some issue or some question and then deal with it. That's how I understood it.
I would very much appreciate if you could support us in that regard. But on the other hand, I must say Ms. Nikak did indicate that there have been a number of changes. That's why there are track changes. And I wouldn't like the committee to feel afterwards that we have not been able to consider, the document in full. But yes, you are correct. There have been a number of changes since Tuesday, as one can expect. And perhaps, Ms. Nikak, you can just help us to point out those changes.
That's fine, Chairperson. Member Bartman, just let me know now they're on their last item, but I see that Member Mitchell has joined the meeting. Good.
Thank you, Honourable Mitchell. Welcome to you. I believe you're an alternate to this committee, and you may be standing in for Ms. Maseko while she's busy with the NCOP meeting.
Yes, Chair, I'm standing in.
Good. Thank you very much. So we are quorum, and it has gone 12 o'clock, as Honourable Heron was kindly pointed out when he greeted us with good afternoon. So thank you very much, and good afternoon to each and everybody. Thank you for being here, but first to the honourable members, but then also to our parliamentary support staff. Thank you very much. And also thank you to the representatives from the Department of Environmental Affairs and Development Planning, as well as the legal advisor of Ms. Michelle Mellum from the Premier's office. Perhaps, can I just ask, Ms. Nikak, did we receive any apologies from any members or support staff?
Chairperson, we did receive not an apology from Member Pat Madden, but he indicated that he will join the meeting whilst driving to Cape Town, so he may be a little bit late. Other than that, nothing else was received.
Good, thank you. And then we now have noted that Honourable Mitchell is standing in for Honourable Maseko. So it seems to me that should also be noted as for the minutes of this meeting as an apology from her side. Good. Thank you very much. Thank you, members. And again, as I've said before we started, this is a meeting of the Standing Committee on Agriculture, Environmental Affairs and Development Planning to deal with the negotiating mandate on the National Environmental Management Laws Amendment Bill. And I wish to thank at the onset all the members for considerable work that they've put into a considerable piece of legislation that has been proposed. And as you would have seen from this 19-page document, I think, well, I'm quite proud of the input that we are considering currently from the side of the Western Cape. So Honourable Heron has indicated that he's happy if we don't go through the document word for word. And I wonder, Ms. Nikak, if you could help us just to say, where would you like us, or would like to point out to us, some changes that have been brought about from the document that served in front of us on Tuesday?
Chairperson, I propose that the document that was circulated this morning containing the track changes, that the committee just looks at those particular paragraphs and clauses where changes have been indicated.
Changes
document,
both blue and red.
correct. The document that was before the committee on Tuesday past was really a very draft document, and it didn't contain much. So the document before the committee at the moment, which I will put up on the screen, is the document that should be looked at with the changes as marked on that document. All right?
Correct. Now, can I just say, it seems to be then as if Honourable Heron, and I trust that Honourable Mitchell will concur, that I can also put it page by page to the committee, and that and if there's no comment, that we then go onto the next page. Silence, I take as
my hand is up.
Sorry, Honourable Heron, yes.
No, I think that is fine. I was going to say that, I mean, the document we got this morning is kind of builds on what we discussed earlier this week on Tuesday, I think it was. And although I missed some of the previous dialogue, I've been able to follow the process from having attended the first meeting. So, I mean, in my view, we can go page by page. That's fine with me. I've read the whole document. I have like 4 points that I want to point out in the whole document. Otherwise, I support it, and I really don't see that we need to go through every single change.
Good, excellent, thank you. If that is generally accepted, honourable members, I then put to you page 1, and please stop me when you want to. Yes. Honourable Heron, I see your hand.
On page 1, under the first paragraph titled General, it's a minor thing, but we don't have national, provincial, and municipal levels. The Constitution talks about spheres. So if we're going to talk, let's be consistent with the Constitution. And then the next sentence, it remains to be seen, I don't think is appropriate as a comment. It's emotive. So either we need to say that there are aspects that still need to be addressed, but it remains to be seen, I think, is an inappropriate phrasing. Otherwise, I'm fine with page 1.
Agreed. Won't you just you had a beautiful alternative wording that you wanted to, or that you just put to us. Won't you just repeat that, please?
If only I can remember what I just. I made notes that I didn't like the word levels, and I think it remains to be seen as is not an appropriate phrase. Yes. I think what I was saying is that there are aspects that need to be addressed, and so maybe it is what remains to be addressed are the proposed amendment, how the proposed amendments will empower provincial and local governments.
Good. Thank you very much, and I fully concur with that. Thank you. Can we then move on to page 2? Good. No comments there. I then put to you page 3. It's so wonderful to see what we've discussed being captured here. Fantastic. Then I put to you page 4. Thank you. Then page 5. That is now paragraph 11. There you have it on the screen as well. And please, anybody that still wants to come in, please feel free. Then page 6, which has at its top paragraph 12, clause 5.
Chairperson.
Thank you. Go ahead.
I don't know if I'm on page 6 or 7, but paragraph 12.2, does that fall on page 6? Yes.
6, correct, yes.
Yes, if we just go down, this is, my paragraph is now different to this.
12.1, 12.2, the paragraph number might also help.
Paragraph 12.2. My paragraph 12.2 looks different to what Ms. Van Niekerk is putting up. Can you go, Shireen, can you go down to where we amend the, where there's the proposed amended wording for the section?
It is therefore submitted that section 24G is amended.
Oh, yes, yes. There was this document that we're seeing now is slightly different to the one that was sent at 10:38 this morning. But there's this paragraph. There's a proposal that the reason for a failure can be submitted, and I see it there. Subsection 1 does not apply where reasons for failure. Don't go too fast, Shireen. Right at the bottom of page 6. Yes. Where reasons for failure have been communicated to the competent authority in writing. I mean, I wasn't part of 2 meetings where this was discussed, but I think that, if I may just make a point here, that perhaps it would be better if there's an application for an extension rather than an extension is automatically granted if someone just provides reasons. Because then you are powerless as the authority to say your reasons are not valid or your reasons are not good enough. So I raise that point that I think it kind of reduces the power of the authority here by just, if an applicant just provides reasons for failure rather than applying for a further extension.
Yeah. Okay, so it does give the competent authority the right to accept or decide whether they want to accept those reasons, but I like your wording. Would Mr. Hardcastle or Ms. Rousseau like to comment?
Chair, hi, Paul Hardcastle, good morning. Chair, if you want to, I would perhaps not then call it an application, but rather a request. And that request must also obviously contain reasons, because an application normally goes with an application fee. This is not necessarily an application fee, but it's certainly a written request with reasons. Would that suffice, or do you want to keep it as clear that it's an application?
Okay, so you want to steer away from the word application or apply. So subsection 1 does not apply where reasons for failure does not apply where, must we say, an applicant? Anybody who would like to help is welcome. Where an applicant has requested, is that the word you used, Mr. Hardcastle?
Yeah, where written request with reasons have been submitted by an applicant. Maybe something like that, Chair?
Good. Chair, I see Honourable Mitchell. I see Honourable Mitchell has also got his hand raised.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Chair. Chair, if you want to read the legislation from the one section to the next, then I completely agree with Honourable Heron's proposal, because subsection 1 refers to an application process. Within 6 months will result in the lapsing of the application. So an application process means, in my view, that there's an applicant. So I don't see why we're not consistent. And I mean, what's the big difference between application and request?
Except that Mr. Hardcastle believes that when they see the word application, they want to see a fee as well. And it doesn't necessarily include a fee.
But the subsection 1 already makes provision for, or subsection 1 refers to the lapsing of an application. So I just want to say I completely agree with Honourable Heron, but I think it's purely stylistic in any case.
Okay. So subsection 1 does not apply where an application for, is it for postponement? and you don't want the word application where a request for postponement.
Can I suggest that we don't say postponement but extension, because this
Extension. Thank you.
The prior paragraph says you must do something within 6 months, so you're asking for an extension.
Excellent. Does not apply where a request for extension have been communicated and have been accepted.
Yes.
By the company. First, Ms. Nikak, have been, and then I think you've already got there, communicated. Have been communicated. So it's a request for extension have been, and then the rest can remain, communicated to the competent authority in writing, and you accept the request, that's correct, and accepted by the competent authority. Good, thank you.
All right, there we go.
That then deals with page 6. Can we turn over to page 7? There's no comment. I'm going to then put to you page 8. There have been a number of changes. Good. Accepted. Then page 9. Thank you for assisting our colleagues in the NCOP by providing a newly drafted proposal or neatly drafted proposal there. That's page 9. Then page 10. Then page 11.
Chair.
Yes.
If we can just go back to paragraphs 24 and 25, please.
Yes.
Now, I'm not sure, I mean, I raised this because you'll see in 24 and 25, the proposal is to identify the minister responsible for water affairs and responsible for mineral resources. I remember in our last meeting that we spoke about the Minister of Water Affairs and Minister of Mineral Resources, but we moved away from that because the ministerial titles can change from one administration to the next.
Correct.
But I still wonder whether saying someone is responsible for water affairs, does water affairs have a legal definition anywhere in our law? I can't find it. I mean, we're using words like water affairs. Usually legislation would say the minister responsible for the Water Act or the Water Services Act or the Water Use Act. So it's a small point. We can leave it in there because maybe ultimately the final drafters will deal with it. But I just raise it because I think it's as informal as it was previously.
Yeah, just my mind, I think we're still on the same page in the sense that we want to move away from specific, I almost want to say, naming of what the minister's portfolio looks like. The word water affairs, you're quite right. I think in many countries, it would just be the minister for water or something like that. So. Do you have an alternate? Because it's not only, I think, the Minister for Water Affairs or responsible for water. Would you like to say the management or something like that?
Chairperson, I think water affairs is something that we would use colloquially in South Africa. the minister responsible for all matters water is really what I'm trying to find, but we can't really say it like that. So we can say the minister responsible for water. Water, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think usually a drafter of legislation would refer to other legislation here. And I don't know where water is referred to everywhere in legislation. So I just raise it. I think we can leave it like this. I assume that ultimately it will come out fixed, but I raise it because I think it's still a bit sloppy.
Correct. Correct. Mr. Hardcastle, I see you breathing heavily. Have you got a proposal?
I don't have any wise words, perhaps only Minister responsible for the management of water resources. That's the only other recommendation I can make.
I like your recommendation, water resources.
I do too, Chair.
Okay. Shall we change that affairs, Ms. Niekerk, to the minister responsible for water resources? Also, I think Honourable Heron also referred to paragraph 24.
That's fine, Chairperson. Do you want me to include the management of water resources or just water resources?
Minister responsible for water resources, I think, is good. And then also in the paragraph 24, please, if you could have the paragraph 24. That's it. Resources. Good. No, thank you, Honourable Baron. Then that was page 10 and page 11. Good. We go on to page 12. Then page 13. Page, I must say, I still find that word in just before page 31, the planned destruction over time. It is an interesting one for me. Good, that's page 13. Then page 14. Ms. Niekerk just quickly notified me that she lost us, her line was dropped. But so that's page 14. No comment on there.
Chairperson.
Welcome back, Ms. Niekerk.
Your apologies, my line just dropped, so I'm not sure if the negotiating mandate, the draft report, is still on the screen.
No.
Not?
No, it's not on the screen. And we made a lot of changes while you were away.
But I'm sure you will inform me later, Chair.
No, I'm pulling your leg. Okay. Page 15. No comment. Thank you. Page 16. Page 17. Page 18. And then page 19. Good. Thank you. My apologies, honourable members, but I started printing and I seem to only have up to page 19 here in front of me as in my printout. Let me just quickly go to the document on my computer. More members, page 20, is that the one where we, Ms. Niekerk, that is it clause 82, is that on page 20?
Clause 82 is on page 21.
21. Okay.
Yeah.
So no comment on page 20. And then page 21. Honourable members, there have been a number of comments on clause 82, where our officials from the Department of Environmental Affairs and Development Planning thought that this could be seen as if an environmental authorization and an environmental management plan or program could be equated by the implications of the wording. I didn't quite see that, and thank you. I saw that you commented on it, Mr. Hardcastle or Mr. Rousseau. I don't know whom of you did that. Can I still just ask, why do you think that the wording, is it that the word that a permit is being issued, that you think that would be seen as environmental authorization? Can I just quickly point out, obviously this clause 82, or then section 12 of the Act, deals with, my understanding is it deals with mining, and it deals with existing rights or existing permits that have been issued before, I think it was 2004, when the legislation was not yet passed. This legislation wasn't there. Mr. Hardcastle, Mr. Rousseau, I see you still would like us to say it's not clear what the implications of clause 68 may be.
Chair, yes, from the last committee meeting, I thought that it was agreed that such a clause or such a concern will still be captured in the comments, and hence it's still found its way in how it's worded, or the proposed wording now. And yes, it relates to the transitional arrangements for the one environmental system related to mining. And yes, previously under the mining dispensation, an environmental management was a requirement. But that environmental management program is like an environmental management plan. It's an implementation document. In the mining legislation, even previous versions or proposals was that they convert all of these environmental management programs that preceded the requirement for authorization, that they simply convert these into and regard them as an environmental authorization. And we took strong issue with that because there were some of these environmental management programs that was wholly inadequate, inappropriately for inappropriate environments. And we believe that you cannot simply convert such an environmental management program in environmental authorization. And in fact, this was also coming from a court case. So both us and CER was still concerned that the wording in that transitional arrangements or in this clause 82 is not clear in categorically confirming that an ENPR can now be converted into an environmental environmental authorization. And the national government then confirmed that that was not the intention. But in a reply to CER, they said that this can be clarified, and we simply then say that, you know what, agreed, it needs to be clarified,
because we do not want the mining companies to interpret this as they can convert their EMPR into an environmental authorization. So hence the wording there, but it is a very complex clause, and we believe that this must be subject to further debate with probably between national and the various competent authorities or provinces, so that we get the wording right. So yeah, hence that's where we are now.
Okay. And I see your very last sentence says the redrafting should not be undertaken without the detailed discussions with the National Department. So you wouldn't like to propose a redrafted clause or an amended?
Yeah, Chair, maybe that clause. Sorry, I apologize for interrupting. That last sentence can maybe be redrafted. And Anik, I know that we earlier this morning discussed it. Can maybe be redrafted to say that the clause should. The redrafting of the clause should be undertaken by the National Department in consultation with other spheres of government. And maybe it's appropriate wording so that this can, yeah, and maybe that, rather say it clearly like that.
Okay.
Yeah,
I think if we go back to what Honourable Herrner said right in the beginning, we should be factual and not use terms such as should not be undertaken, etc. May I propose that we come up with a wording which says that we propose that this clause be redrafted in consultation with the National Department. You know, stated as a more factual.
It's fine, sir. It's fine. It must be redrafted in consultation with other spheres of government or spheres. Maybe something like that.
To clearly differentiate or state that environmental management plans cannot be or cannot substitute the need for environmental authorization. Something to that extent?
Chair, yeah, we can maybe put that wording in like that. I think, yeah, okay, fine. CER's concern was beyond even that, but it's fine. You can draft it in that way also. So in other words, that the redrafting of this clause should be undertaken in consultation with other spheres of government. Maybe if you can just say to remove ambiguity.
Okay, but we request that this clause be redrafted to remove any possibility of ambiguity and to ensure that environmental management plans or programs do not replace the need for environmental authorizations.
Yeah, okay, Chair, you can highlight that point too. It's fine.
Good.
Chair, apologies, Anik Rissar here. If I may just add further, I think this morning we had a brief discussion, as Mr. Hardcastle mentioned, and I think we noted it might be a good idea to say it's submitted that the clause be remitted back to the National Department for redrafting in consultation with relevant decision-making authorities. I think which is in line with what your suggestion is as well.
Good, but I must say I favour your wording, that, and I think Ms. Niekerk has got that on the recording. Honourable members, with that amendment, and I propose that we go with the wording as Mr. Rousseau has just proposed. Are you in a position where I can put this whole document to you for consideration?
Yes, Chair.
Honourable Heron, your hand.
Yes, I'm happy.
Good. Thank you. Thank you very much. Honourable members, I then put to you this draft negotiating mandate document. And can I just ask, is those in favour?
I'm in favour.
Aye.
Thank you. Honourable Heron, Honourable, it seems, anybody against? I see Honourable Miranda has also joined us. Then can I say it's unanimous? It carries
Chair.
unanimous support. Thank you.
Chair.
Honourable Maron, welcome.
Chair.
Honourable Maron, you're welcome. Please proceed.
In this morning that I might join whilst busy driving, and I'm still busy driving.
Yes,
so,
we can
I've heard
hear the sound is not too good, but the question is just, can we also note your support for this document?
Chair, I haven't gone through this document. It was sent last. In fact,
Yes.
Chair, this is basically for negotiation, and I don't think
Yeah.
that I will have a problem with it.
Good. Thank you very much. So that is then carried, and that will then be forwarded. And at this point, I want to say thank you very much, honourable members.
The chairperson, so sorry for
officials,
interrupting.
Yes, Ms. Niekerk.
Could you just please, am I correct in saying that the committee has now supported the bill,
You're correct.
but proposed the following amendments as listed on screen? Correct?
As per our document, yes.
All right. Now, can I just ask you please to read the draft report into record, if you don't mind, Chair?
Good. Report of the Standing Committee on Agriculture, Environmental Affairs and Development Planning on the National Environmental Management Laws Amendment Bill B140. No, sorry, B14D of 2017, NCOP, dated 18th of September 2020, as follows. The Standing Committee on Agriculture, Environmental Affairs and Development Planning, having considered the subject of the National Environmental Management Laws Amendment Bill B14D of 2017, NCOP, referred to it in accordance with Standing Rule 217, confers on the Western Cape's delegation in the NCOP the authority to support the bill. The committee further proposes the following amendments, and then there were numerous amendments as per our document, and leading up to, I think it was paragraph 40, let's just quickly go there, paragraph 43. Good. I hope that is now part of the record, Ms. Niekerk. Honourable members, then I'll, yes?
I just wanted to check something. It's part of the resolutions is that this committee supports the bill, right? That's what I've heard.
With amendments.
With amendments, I agree. But these amendments should be negotiated. If my understanding is correct.
Correct. We now ask of our representative in the NCOP to bring under the attention of the NCOP that we have a number of amendments that we propose. Even if those amendments are not carried, or not all of them are carried, we still indicate that we support the bill, but we are asking of our representatives to bring certain aspects that we would like to be amended under the attention of our colleagues there in the NCOP. So the final decision from the Western Cape Legislature will only be taken once we've received feedback from the NCOP. Good. Thank you, honourable members. Then I would like to just ask before we conclude for the day, but I was still making my beautiful speech in thanking all the officials who worked very, very hard, all the legal advisors, and particularly I would like to thank Ms. Niekerk, who literally worked one night this week. I received an email, I think it was about 2 o'clock in the morning from her. I really want to thank her also for her hard work in summarizing the numerous inputs that we've received, for following up and making sure that everybody that promised that they would stick to certain deadlines, that they respond, and that they respond as early as possible. And my apologies where we have had some delays, such as from the National Department of Environmental Affairs, which actually asked for postponement, but then eventually we received their inputs a week and a half even after that date that they proposed. Honourable members, just two other things before we conclude. The first one is I would like you to just consider the minutes of the meeting. I think it was of the 7th, or was it the 8th of September? Ms. Niekerk, you must just help me there. Is it the 8th of September?
The 8th of September, Chairperson.
Correct. Honourable members, perhaps Ms. Niekerk, if you would be able to beam that onto the screen as well. Good.
So, Chair, do you need us as officials still to be at the meeting?
No, Mr. Hardcastle, thank you very much. I do hope that you will be able to have a long weekend after having worked so hard last weekend. But thank you very much. You are excused.
Thank you, Chair. And have a good weekend too. Thanks.
Yes, and thank you very much again for your hard work. And I do think you will see a lot of your work being reflected in this document. Good. Good. So the 8th of September, we've got it there, honourable members. I do know the one thing that members often are interested in is whether their apologies have been noted, etc. So if you could just quickly scroll there. Okay, so it seems to me we're unable to adopt this because it's only myself who attended that meeting. Am I correct, Ms. Niekerk? I cannot propose and...
No, Chairperson, you are not correct. The committee we do have a quorum, even though those members were not present in the meeting. So we do have a quorum, so you can actually adopt these minutes.
Okay, no, thank you. So, honourable members, I put the minutes to you and I propose that we adopt. And in terms of our rules, we don't need a seconder. So, thank you very much. Then, Ms. Niekerk, can I ask you then to also put on the screen Tuesday the 15th of September's minutes?
I'll do so, Chairperson.
Good. I'm going to start reading. It's the minutes of the Standing Committee on Agriculture, Environmental Affairs and Development Planning on Tuesday, the 15th of September. Present were from the Democratic Alliance, Honourable Bartman, Maseko and myself. From Good, Honourable Heron. And then noted as absent, Honourable Maran. And then the officials, also including Mr. Mohammed, who wasn't on today. And then we've had a number of people from Salga. You will remember Alderman Kutsia also taking part in our discussions this Tuesday past. And then the number of officials. Ms. Niekerk, are you still calling that up?
I am, Chairperson, but it's just not responding at the moment, so it's taking a bit long. Just give me a minute.
Good. So just in brief, what was minuted was that we submitted the draft negotiating mandate report for the National Forest Amendment Bill, and that one was adopted, and then that we dealt with the consideration and adoption of the draft negotiating mandate report on the National Environmental Management Laws Amendment Bill. And there we've said that we cannot, after our deliberations, we cannot adopt it, and that we would need to meet today. Thank you, Ms. Nickert. There it is. Thank you. I think you can scroll through and on to page 3. There we are. Good. So there, as was minuted, or as it appears in the minutes, there was some uncertainty whether all the inputs received were captured in the negotiating mandate report. And then we anticipated that it would not be finalized, and members were requested to inform the procedural officer before the next meeting of any concerns. So these could be addressed, and I want to also say, as we consider this, these minutes, thank you very much again for those that did that. Good. And then the resolution was to continue our consideration of the negotiating mandate report on the NEMLA bill on Friday, 18th of September, and that the procedural officer liaise with the department and the legal advisor to ensure that all proposed amendments are captured in the report. And we couldn't then adopt the minutes of this 8th of September. So, honourable members, I put that to the committee. Fortunately, we now have myself and Honourable Heron that were present on Tuesday. Honourable Heron, your hand.
I was going to say, you don't have to adopt these on your own this time. I can propose them.
Thank you very much, Honourable Heron. And honourable members, with that, I want to say thank you very much. It has been quite a considerable piece of legislation. Welcome, Honourable Bartman. You've just joined in time for us to adopt the minutes of Tuesday's meeting. I see your hand is raised.
I just want to apologize for entering late. I'm also a member on the Public Accounts Committee, and we only finished now, and it was on quite an important matter, so I didn't just want to leave the previous meeting. But I'm happy that you all were okay and didn't need my vote for anything. Or thank you so much.
Thank you very much, and thank you, and welcome also to Honourable Maseku, I think, who's also just joined us from the Standing Committee on Public Accounts. Honourable members. So now, I'm glad you're all now here, because I've just said thank you very much to you all for hard work, for your engagement, for your work in between the meetings and behind the scenes, the liaising that you've done with officials, with our procedural officer. Thank you very much. And with that, honourable members, in conclusion, I want to say I wish you all a wonderful constituency period going forward, and may there be some rest for you as well, and a good day to you all. And with that, our meeting is now concluded. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chair.